us an overview of what played out today. All right, we'll get an update from Femi in just a moment when we connect. But let's now bring in the Minister of Labour, Minister of State for Labour and Employment, Nkirika Onyejoshua. Good to have you join us.
Thank you. Good evening.
So we understand that this is binding on all. Did the federal government carry the private sector and the state governors along on this?
Well, I can say that how we got to where we are today. That the tripartite committee met and agreed on 62. Naira minimum wage, but the organized labor didn't quite agree with that. And so private sector and the government side came to the 62. And of course, the labor didn't agree with that. And at the time that the tripartite committee submitted its report and to the president, and president said he'd look at it and of course proceed to national assembly or further legislative action. During the consultation with stakeholders, after the first briefing from the Minister for Information, the Labour pointed out that during the briefing that the Minister for Information did not mention that the president will consult with them, and so decided, and then asked that they are Nigerians and they should also be consulted with, and that was what brought about the president agreeing that yes, they are Nigerians and they are critical stakeholders that he will accept, he will agree. He has agreed to meet with them, and that was last week, Thursday. And then the labor leaders came and met with Mr. President after further discussions on issues on the nation and the economy, generally speaking, everything. And of course, they said that they had with Mr. President, and they were happy that Mr. President agreed to meet with them, but that the president should give them 1 more week to further speak on those issues. And Mr. President unanimous, how will I put it? Generously accepted to give them 1 week, which is today. And having come today, Mr. President listened to them and said, as a father, that not that the indices were correct, not that it's easy to say so or to accept to increase, but having considered that a father will always be a father, having listened to them, that it will not be nice that they leave without him doing something. So he just agreed that he will be a father. And that's why he announced that being a father, not that it's very, very easy to do, having looked at all the issues, both ability to pay, whether the money is there, and all that, all the indices around the minimum wage and all sorts. And so he graciously said he doesn't want to win any argument, and he doesn't want to, who is going to have the first blink, that he will consider the 70,000 naira minimum wage increase. That is moving away from 62,000 naira and then accepting to pay 70,000 naira. And the organized labor, of course, there's no way I haven't had all right,
Honorable Minister, just let me put you on hold. We just want to get a quick update from our correspondent, State House correspondent. We'll come back to you in just a minute. Femi, give us just a brief overview of what played out.
Hi, Precious. Well, it was interesting to see leaders of organized labor return for the second leg of their meeting with President Bola Tinubu and also ministers of President Bola Tinubu's cabinet, Minister of Labor, Minister of Finance, Budget, and key officials of the president's cabinet joining in that meeting with labor. But the most important thing is that at the end of the day, the deadlock was broken. They came out with an agreement, 70,000 naira as the new national minimum wage. You also recall that President Bola Tinubu had to step this down at a particular Federal Executive Council meeting and agreed to consult widely. So we believe that having consulted widely and then and reached an agreement, a consensus with all stakeholders, which are the governors, the local government, wage-paying institutions, and the private sector. I believe this is what they have all agreed, and Mr. President came forward and put this on the table for organized labor with the promise to review the national minimum wage every 3 years. You know, this was a deal breaker for organized labor. They said, you know, instead of waiting every 5 years before this minimum wage is reviewed, now doing it every 3 years, you know, it helps them to, it helps Nigerian workers to cling on to hope of getting a review, getting a pay rise every 3 years. And then they were able to accept that deal. They would also go and report back to their constituency, like Joe Ajero said, and I believe they will prevail on them to accept this deal, and to also help the federal government stave off any planned protest, workers' protest for now. Precious.
Thank you so much, Femi, for that update. Let's get back to the Minister of State for Labor and Employment. Honorable Minister, you were speaking earlier, but my question really was, you know, specifically, are the governors in agreement with this 70,000 naira?
This afternoon, you know, the governors are the truth of the matter is that for all we are at this particular point was that this was meeting between the organized labor with Mr. President. The governors were not there, but the president said he will reach out to the governors. But you should also know that the governors, the president is President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, but the governors are sub-nationals. The president doesn't direct the governors on minimum wage. What president does is to accept and agree with the laws. And you know, these are issues of law. It's not about whether they agree or not, but you know that the governors met with us on that tripartite committee where we met and signed the agreement. That came
Honorable Minister, apologies for butting. I have just a minute left, and I wanted to ask you, because you mentioned the law, how soon will this be transmitted to the National Assembly for implementation? And will that include the 3 years review?
Yes, it's reviewed every 5 years. But Mr. President, when he's addressing, he said we should look at these issues holistically. He said it himself, that is advancing that instead of 5 years, that is too wide, that it should be brought down to 3 years, and has asked that the submission to the National Assembly should take place by next week. Today is Thursday. National Assembly don't sit on Fridays unless they convoke it. So the next sitting day should be from Tuesday. And so that's how soon they can get to National Assembly, because that law to review it every 3 years should also be in place.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. The Honorable
and
Minister.
Of course, there are a level of communications when these issues are taken holistically, like of course, you have to carry the stakeholders along. You have to brief them on what has transpired today and even ask their buy-in. And of course, you know that Mr. President has been father of all, and I believe wholeheartedly that he will also brief the governors and of course the local government, because
I'm afraid we do have to leave it there, Honorable Minister. My apologies because of time. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister for State for Labour and Employment, Nkiruka Injocha. Pleasure to have you on.
Thank you.
Away from Labour reports to Edo State, where it was heavy gun battle as thugs went on rampage on Airport Road in Benin, shooting sporadically with the aim to prevent Philip Shaibu from accessing the government house. Philip Shaibu, whose impeachment was upturned by a federal high court on Wednesday, was received by a crowd of supporters. Mr. Shaibu was in company of APC governorship candidate Senator Monday Okpebholo, was attacked by the seriously armed thugs who unleashed mayhem, leading to the death of one of the police officers attached to the candidate. The thugs took over the airport, causing passers-by to scamper for safety, while some were injured. The All Progressives